city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter collar. Whole squad been trained to go. Fence for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. My intuition told me this. To trust the coach, he holds the gift. He knowing when to go with fits. So we knowing when to switch. This year we got the golden pick. Time to see what that pick about. Bad vibes get sent out. Only fans up in this house. We been waiting, yeah, we been patient. Now it's time to cash out, no discount. Super Bowl, yeah, we in rock. I don't know when, but it's close. I don't wanna overhype, but I just know I like it. So excited, league gon' know this now. You should notarize it. They say tour from that rock. Shout out to Samoa and Islands. Time to lay the smack down. You think he Dwayne Johnson? Time to be the people's champ. Hit him with the people's elbows. Sit together like it's Velcro. You think you could stop us? Hell no. All day I dream about sports. I think I need some Checo. Custom with some Dolphins colors. Just to let them know we here. Yeah. I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter collar. Whole squad been trained to go. Fence for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time.
Without further ado, the legend himself, Mr. Richmond Webb.
Hey, Gio, Batman, how y'all doing?
How you doing,
What's up,
Richmond?
man?
How's everything going?
Good.
So, man, I definitely very, very excited to have you here, man. Thank you very much for giving our Dolphins community here on YouTube, which is growing, it looks like, every day. You know, I don't think you could get any more Miami Dolphins content than on YouTube right now. You know, radio is just slowly going away, and I definitely wanted to thank you for being able to come out, interact with us, you know, share some of your stories, you know, whatever it is you could definitely offer to us as far as insight. We definitely appreciate it, man.
Well, I think I picked a good time to come on. I mean, the last 5 weeks have been awesome for the Dolphins fans, organization, players, everybody. You know, the first 8 weeks was kind of rough. We went, 1-7, but this last 5 or last 6, I forgot about the bye week. But to go 5 in a row, win the last game going into the bye week, and then after that, we got the Jets again coming up, and we play them at home this time. So I think everybody's excited. We just got to continue this trend that we're on, and we're looking really good right now. So I think I'm excited just like everybody else.
That's awesome. Richmond, so I know you've been going on a couple shows. You were on Clock Blockers not too long ago with Steven. He's been very supportive of us too. So tell us a little bit about, what you have been doing lately on your free time.
Yeah, I was, I guess it was about a week ago, I was on with Stephen D. His show, I've done it a few times, and also Finside NFL with Reason and Mr. Ball Game, and then a guy that I played with in college and at the Dolphins. We have a podcast. It's called Miami Guys with Aggie Ties. Gig 'em guys with Miami Ties. And ours is a little bit more fun, not so serious about, what's going on behind the scenes, this and that, but just kind of going over the previous week and kind of, interacting with the guys. And we go live from time to time and try to get that fan support, interaction, this and that. So we love doing that. So kind of got started in this podcast thing. I think with a lot of other people doing COVID, everybody was at home, this and that. And you could watch
something to do, huh?
Yeah, you could watch the games. Nobody could go to the games. And next thing I know, all these podcasts start pumping up. So I think it's been great for the fan base. And they've been really supportive, and majority of the podcast are, people are really positive and this and that. And I think it's great for the fan base. So I don't have no issues. It's been good.
Awesome. A little bit later on the show, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put everything in up for everyone as far as they could follow you on that podcast and I'm gonna put up the correct spelling and everything. That way there's no mistakes and everybody can actually tune into you.
Okay. Okay.
You have a YouTube channel also, right?
No,
It's
I'm really,
growing.
huh?
It's growing, man.
My YouTube channel is growing.
I might have. I mean, unless I'm looking at the wrong channel, but I think you have a YouTube channel, don't you?
I think I set up one a long time ago, but I hadn't really been real active on it. So you might be right. I might need to go check that. I guess I'll be on YouTube all the time. I'm always watching somebody else's stuff on there, so I might need to check up on my own stuff.
Oh man.
That's awesome.
Do you want to start off with a question, Batman? How you want to do it, man?
Yeah, we'll take turns. So I have a good friend of mine. His name is Jimmy. He's one of the greatest bartenders here down in Miami. Known Jimmy for a very long time, and he wanted me to ask for you, how were those battles that you had with Bruce Smith?
Oh man, it was. I think everybody kind of wants to know about that one, but that was the measuring stick. I think if you want to be the best, you want to play against the best, and for me, that was the toughest guy I had to play at least twice, sometimes three times a year. Especially went to the playoffs, but he was great pass rusher, played against the run, and you was going to have to play for the full 60 minutes, but it also challenged you to bring the best out of you. So I always look forward to playing against guys that played at that real high level, because you had to match their level of intensity and their skill to have a chance. If you go 50-50, that's almost a win with a guy like that. So I always look forward to those, but that was the toughest guy I had to go against year in and year out.
Awesome. Okay.
Man, that was great hearing, man. I have a question here from a family member of mine, actually. Big fan of yours, man. My older brother. He just basically wants to know if there's any talent on the O line except for Hunt that you see, or is it a coaching problem?
It's definitely they're having some issues technically. So with me being in Houston and not being there on a day-to-day basis, I don't want to say it's coaching or whatever, because I'm not there, but I do know that they have some technique and technical issues that need to be fixed in order to play more consistent, to be better. I don't think I think we got guys that got athletic ability, but we just got a lot of guys that's not playing very consistent right now.
Right.
And I think once we fix that, whether it be these guys or bringing other guys that can get it done, I think we're really going to see our offense really be able to open up more and be a lot more productive. So I think
So it sounds like coaching, huh?
It could be coaching. Like I said, typically you work with guys and they should start to get better as the season go along, because you get more and more reps on the job. But some guys it takes longer for some guys, and some guys they get it and some guys they don't. So I don't want to just say it's that, because I'm kind of outside looking in, and I'd like to be more hands-on where I can watch and see how they interact in practice and stuff like that. Is it that they're getting coached but they're not seriously taking it, what the coach is saying? It could be a number of factors. So with me outside looking in, it's kind of hard to just pinpoint it to say it's this or that.
That was actually good insight. And I have a follow-up question real quick, and then Batman could ask another one here. So as far as your experience within the locker room, O-line, as fans, we know you guys definitely work together day in and day out. It's a gelling process. Is it normal, I guess, to see a regression from an offensive lineman? And of course, I say that, and people are gonna think I'm talking about Austin Jackson. Not only Austin Jackson, like Solomon Kinley was a big part of our O line last year, and for some reason, is regression a normal thing as an offensive line group individually, or is that part of continuing trying to grow, trying to continue to work hard? Like, what is it, a mental aspect with regression on some of these old linemen?
it could be a lot of times. No matter what the sport is, if your mental and headspace is not right, um, and I give you an example, playing offensive line or playing like cornerback or whatever. That's probably even better. If a corner gets beat for deep for a touchdown, he's got to have a short memory. If he keeps thinking about the play that he just let that guy beat him, that can turn into two bad plays. So it can go turn into a spiraling effect to where you can continue to get into a slump that you can't get out of. You see it in baseball, shooters and basketball, this and that. So it's definitely got to be mental, and you got to be able to say, okay, there's nothing I can do about the play that I just screwed up on, whatever. No matter how bad you feel or whatever, you can't go back in time. So you got to be able to say, okay, let me get that one out the way and let me refocus, hone in, because I got to play again. Because if not, that guy is continuing to come, and it can turn into a stat game for a defensive lineman if you go into a tank. So you definitely got to have the mental headspace. Like I said, I don't know Solomon Kinley personally or this and that. I do know that we got to play more consistent as an offensive line. We got to play more consistently individual because, like you said, it's not just Austin Jackson. One player might be this guy, one player might be that guy, this and that. And it's hard to develop a rhythm and stuff like that as a quarterback in your offense because you just never know where the pressure is coming from. And it should be coming that consistent, every other play or something like that.
Okay, Richard, let me ask you another question before we even we let our friend Ennis in. Um, so obviously, I don't think there is an argument. You probably are the greatest left tackle in franchise history for the Dolphins. Um, and moving away from just in football in general, you are considered one of the greatest. Um, how does it feel? Because obviously, we got the movement that we're trying to get you. We're pushing for you to get into the Hall of Fame. Um, Basically now more than obviously started 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we were like, get Richmond in, and we feel like you're way more than deserving as far as just everything you have statistically you've put on record. How does it feel every year for you? Do you feel like a bit of anxiety? You feel happy? You feel How does it feel? How do you feel about the whole situation?
Well, it's always an honor to make the list. I do know it's tough to get in. Um, the thing I try to focus on is I know what I did. I know my stats. I know the level of play that I had. So um, that would just be confirmation. But I know I was one of the best to play at that position. So the thing is getting the voters with voters to recognize somebody to say, hey, this guy is deserving this and that. And that's why I was so happy for Zach this year. He made it to the semifinals. I think he'll make it to the finals, this and that, and that'll be another Dolphin in there. And he's deserving as well. So anytime you can make it past that first hump, we got some positive and this and that. And so what I really like to see is a lot of the fans been supporting me and Zach, and they continue to support Zach because hey, let's get him in there. I played with Zach, got tremendous respect for him, the way he played the game at a high level, came in, worked, and he was like a fifth round pick, and nobody was expecting him to start. And I can remember when he was there, and we had Jack Del Rio, and I can remember, we was kind of shocked that Jimmy Johnson cut Jack Del Rio and went with Zach. I mean, I was a little shocked because you just don't know. A veteran, but he knew what he was doing, and Zach was worth his weight in gold, and he took off from his rookie year and just continued to have a long, consistent um, career of success. So he definitely deserves to be in there. I'm looking forward to him getting in there.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, because I know, like I said, we're really pushing for you to get in, you and Zach, and you wait, both of you are extremely deserving. Sometimes I just don't understand the pass from year to year. I really don't. I don't see it. Um, but with all due respect to everybody that makes it, but I do. We do. We all do. We want to see you guys in there soon because you guys are way deserving for that. You should.
And we appreciate that as former players too, especially when you got your fan base. I mean, every time I'm on Twitter, I see somebody's tweeting about that. Let's get these guys in there to push this and that. And I even love the way that the fan base, I think Chris Sims and Colin Cowherd, when they step out of line, the Dolphin fan base
You
comes
seen
to
that, right?
they players.
Yeah, that's
We're not
right, man. I
having,
mean, we
yeah, we're
got
not
Chris
having none of
Sims.
that. Yeah,
We got Chris Sims angry the other day, man. I don't know if you caught that. We'll talk
I
about
did.
that a little bit more here, but we got to him. We got to him.
Y'all blow
Hey,
up, bro.
real quick, I think one of our callers is in the back here. He wants to ask a quick question for you, Richmond, before he has to go back to work.
That's cool.
Let's add him on real quick, man. Ennis.
What up, Richmond?
What's up, Ennis?
Man, it's an honor. Again, always a pleasure to hear it from one of the best. I don't have much time, so I'm gonna just get to my question. Look, let me give you your flowers. The reason why you should be in the Hall of Fame, I think you don't get your flowers because you protected the blind side of the man that we call a god as far as the you know what I'm saying, the man for Miami. And and I ain't gonna say because of you, but you played a big role in the reason why he did what he did. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense what I'm saying. Like you and the five guys, it took five of y'all, but you was of course the blind side. And
That's right.
a
He's
lot
the
of them
blind
big
side,
plays,
Ennis.
if Richmond wasn't doing his job, it'd been bad. But that's just me. I'm just saying
true.
that's just my opinion.
Good point,
So
Ennis.
I want to give you your flowers for what you did on the field. My question was, I get tired of people always asking you about now. My thing is, you played against Bruce Smith. I don't know if you played against LT, but what was the biggest issue of dealing with Bruce Smith? And was he the hardest guy you had to line up against? If he wasn't, who was?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's I played against Bruce Smith my rookie year. I played against LT my rookie year. I mean, just making it through the preseason of me and Keith Sims rookie year. I played against my first game in preseason was Richard Dent. Then I think we played Clyde Simmons from the Eagles. Reggie was on the other side, thank goodness. But Keith played against Jerome Brown, which went to the U, this and that. We all know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I know.
Played against Simon Fletcher and Carl Mecklenburg from Denver. And then I played against Chris Doberman from Minnesota. So before the regular season even started, those are the type of guys, the caliber guys I was playing against, which two of those guys are in the Hall of Fame. Just out of the preseason. So, but that was the thing that helped me adjust to the speed of the game. And the other thing is we got a ton of reps and training camp. You know, training camp and stuff is shorter now. We went 2 days. They don't do that anymore. So things are a lot different when I was in the league versus it is now. But Bruce Smith was definitely the toughest. LT was tough. It's just when you got to go against a guy that's been playing that long, he knows all the little tricks of the trade, and you kind of green coming in, and you just trying to hold your own. But they definitely help get me ready to just keep working hard. And a lot of guys encourage you even after they play against you. You young fella, you keep working this and that. So it's a camaraderie, and I think they like to see when young guys come in and they say that he's probably going to be a pretty good player. So it was awesome for me. But yeah, Bruce by hands down is the toughest guy I had to play against.
Okay, I guess Ennis had to go back in, or he must have dropped. So Cat for Life, he was trying to jump on to ask you a question, so I'm gonna put it up on the screen, and we'll read it out.
Okay.
So Cap said, Richmond, my phone sucks, so I got one question. Decembers are made for the trenches. Do we have what it takes to run the ball in December? Bring 3 out of the 5 games left are at home. Well, we have 4 games left. I think he corrected himself. We got 4 games left, 2 being at home. So
Yeah,
basically,
and speaking of the running game, we hadn't been real successful with that. But one thing I've noticed, and probably a lot of Dolphins fans have noticed, we have a short passing game, and Tua has been really accurate the last few weeks. And in essence, you can use a short passing game like a running game because you can control the time of possession by continuing to make first downs. You pick up 7 on this play, you pick up 6 or 7 on that one. You're getting first downs. You're throwing short, quick passes, but at the same time, you continue to move the chains down the field, and you continue to let your defense rest, and they stay fresher, but it keeps the other defense out there, and it turns into like 10, 12 play drives. And if we continue to do that successfully, because I think everybody knows if I was going to say we're going to run the ball in December, everybody be like, man, he's kind of blowing smoke up. I mean, you just got to, from what we've seen, I don't think that's a hand. I think the reason we've been so successful is Tua has been able to throw the short passes, to continue to move the chains, and that is a kind of a form of our running game, and that's the way I look at it. So running game, I'll say I'm waiting the next year before we can really address and get this line better where we can do that.
Cat for Life, welcome to the show. Did you hear the answer to the question?
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Richmond. Yeah, man, crap, you just took the thunder out of my question because, yeah, I mean, historically in December, we've been really bad in December, correct?
We have struggled in December. That is correct.
So what is it that we have to do? And forgive me, because my phone sucks and it's about to explode. So with that being said, do we have what it takes in this December run to get to the playoffs, knowing that our running game is at an all-time like medium low right now?
Well, I think the first thing we got to do, we got to continue to take it one game at a time. We're in the hunt, but it's still 2 or 3 teams that's ahead of us before we actually make it in the playoffs. So I just want to continue to see us play well, finish strong, continue to win games, and we'll let the chips fall where they may. If we make the playoffs, fine. If we don't, it's kind of out of our hands. It's 6 or 7. I think the Raiders are ahead of us. Who else did I see?
The Colts, the Raiders.
The Colts. It's like 3 teams ahead of us has got like 6 lost. Pittsburgh is one of them that got a tie. So it's early enough to where we still could get in. I'm not saying that, but I'm like, right now, let's focus on
one game
the
at a time.
The next game after that. If we continue to focus on that, the rest of it will take care of itselp. But
we just got to take care of our own business. Take care of our own
We got to take care of our own business. Yeah,
That's
we
right.
start worrying about the playoffs and lose the game, and then we're out of it. So that's why I said let's just continue to play well. The defense is playing like they played back in 2020. The offense is slowly kind of coming into their own and doing this and that and playing well. So I just want to keep seeing progression. I think we're gonna be fine.
So
That's
Ennis,
awesome,
I guess Ennis had to
Before
go
we-
into work. Gio, you want to read that?
Before I read this one, well, let me read this one first, and then I have a follow-up question for him. Let me read that one first. Rich, man, is it all right if I call you Rich? I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, man. Can y'all ask him in his prime, does he think he could have handled Michael Parsons or Jaylen Phillips?
Ennis, come on, Ennis, really? Hey, I tell you this, I respect
Different football, man.
I respect those young men. They're having great bit. When you're a competitor, it doesn't matter who you're going up against. You look forward to challenges like that. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy because those 2 young men got a tremendous upside, but we just have to buckle up and battle for 60 minutes. That's just the way I look at it. But I respect them, but I don't fear them, and I don't think they fear me. So
That's the right mentality.
Work in. Yeah.
You can't fear nobody on the field, on or off. And then I think who was it that used to say in boxing? It was Mike Tyson. I think he said he used to intimidate people off the ring, and by the time you got on the ring, you were in his house. So it's like you can't fear anybody.
Yeah,
That's right, man. That's how it is. It should be like that, right? You have to have that mentality.
That's the game we play.
It's mentality and heart. If you don't have that mentality, it can't be all heart. It has to be a combination of both. So let me ask you. I'm going to give you the offensive line coaching cap. Okay. if you were the offensive line coach, basically, how will you improve the line? What would you do to try to improve this line? And also, a two-part question here. I'm stealing, courtesy of Insanity. Um, is there any way to help Austin Jackson getting beat when defenders go across his face? Like, is there anything, if you were the offensive line coach, what upgrades would you do? And also, what coaching tips would you give a player that struggles with those things?
For my tackles, when they're struggling, say guys, you got edge rushers that they continually getting beat. I would do, and you can't do it all the time, but I would do a slide protection where everybody slides that way. I would also have from time to time have a running back or receiver, somebody come in motion and kind of chip that guy and then get out. That slows that rusher down to where it should give you time to get set and get on that guy, and then you should be able to handle it from there. And then the biggest thing, I was just making sure that you guys up front are communicating with each other, and that's one thing me and Keith Sims had was we could look at each other and know what each other was thinking. We didn't always have to say, well, we got these two guys here, because if defense hear you say that, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, so switch it up. But you got to be able to communicate, and you got to be on the same page, and I think that would clean up a lot. And then just work on some technical things. But yeah, when guys, especially on the edge, just in that, because that just disrupts everything, and then just try to set a little firmer in the middle. But just making sure they got an understanding that, okay, are we doing a 3-step drop? Is it a 5-step drop step? Because your set is different based on how far the quarterback is dropping back. If it's a 7-step, we normally going to throw the ball downfield a little bit longer. So you got to have the basic understanding. I would just make sure they had the understanding of that. I would go back to the basics and make sure they had a clear understanding of that. And if you don't, let's talk about it. But don't tell me you got it, and then we get out here on the field and you start doing something different. So it would just be a communication thing with me.
Oh man, I love that.
Do things up.
I love that. I love that. So it sounds like basically technique, communication, and communication, understanding what play you in, 3-step drop, five-step drop. And so follow-up question with that, and then Batman could take the floor. Now, with that being said, how come basically every lineman that was a tackle in college, and why is it that it looks like they are they're all best suited at guard for some reason? Is it athleticism? Is it something where it doesn't translate to the NFL lately? What do you think it is? Because I've noticed Jesse Davis, for example, just doesn't seem athletic enough to be a tackle. Liam Eichenberg has struggled at times, and I just want to know if that's athleticism, that it's just these defenders are too quick for him on the edge.
I'm gonna tell you, the first thing you gotta do is throw out college, because playing in college and playing in pros is two different things. It's you playing at a much higher level, and some guys make that adjustment, this and that, and where you could play tackle in college, where you might have 1 or 2 games where you got some really good pass rushers and you can kind of get away with that. Every week in the NFL, it's normally some guy that a team has that can disrupt the pass rush, this and that. So, like I said, sometimes it takes guys a little time to make that adjustment, but just because you play tackle in college doesn't necessarily mean it's going to transition to you playing tackle in the NFL, because, like you say, a lot of guys are a lot quicker. They said you brought up Jaylen Phillips and Michael Parsons, both pass rushers. Jaylen Phillips like 6'6", maybe 265. Michael Parsons probably 6'2", 2'3". He's a linebacker and runs a 4.3 40. You're not gonna face guys like that in college a lot of times. So if you struggle, typically they're gonna move you from tackle to guard, because normally those guys, not saying they can't rush the pass, but it's normally a bigger guy that's not as quick, and you got a little help on side to side. So I think that's why that happened.
All right, so Richmond, I have a question. So obviously, you were fortunate enough to have uh, legendary coach and Don Shula, the greatest, winningest coach of all time. Um, do you see? I mean, I know there's a lot of backlash within the community as far as Brian Flores. So my question to you, I'm a supporter of Brian Flores. My question to you: do you see a lot of similarities between Shula coaching style from what you experienced to some of the stuff maybe you hear and see from Flores?
I met him a couple of years ago. I was impressed with him. Um, and I think the first half of the season, when we were in that slump, everybody was saying, get rid of Chris Greer, Coach Flores, this and that. Now we've been on this 5-game winning streak. It seemed like a lot of that has went away. So I know what it is. People were frustrated. I think a lot of people was frustrated. So they looking for somebody to blame. Why is this not happening? This and that. And you look at what we did in 2020 and the type of year we had, and then like you say, the team regressed. And I tell people, even in 2020, it was a couple of games that could have went the other way, but we just wasn't getting that break. In this year, like if we win Atlanta and Jacksonville, we got 5 losses, and those 2 games stick out to me because we lost those games at the very end of the game by the other team kicking a field goal and lose. So those were 2 heartbreaking games. And you look at it, instead of being 6-7, instead of like being 8-5, I think that helps minimize a lot of that chatter. So we've been on this winning streak. We continue to win. I don't think you'll hear as much. I think people are happy. They just wasn't happy like what is going on when we kept losing week
Yeah.
after week after. That was rough. So
The
yeah,
fan base just gets anxious and
yeah.
they start just
And
pointing fingers.
I get it. I mean, they get a taste of it, especially after last year. You figure, okay, if we win like 10 games, maybe we can win 11 or 12 games, we should be in the playoffs. And then you go to New England, beat New England, and then you go on this massive slump, and everybody like, what the hell is going on? So yeah, I get it.
So just to follow up on that question now, obviously, um, the biggest thing within our fan base, besides the coaching, and management, um, mm, dressing the elephant in the room as far as Tua Tagovailoa. Based on what you've seen from the production he's given us, in the past a few games, and if you want to evaluate as far as what you've seen on a 16 game sample size, what is your assessment up to this point, as far as from what you've seen, your perspective on the kid?
I've been a fan of Tua since he came out of Alabama, and I always told people when he came out of Alabama, if he didn't get hurt, he probably would have been the first quarterback off the board. But because he had that hip injury, and a lot of people said we shouldn't have drafted him, this and that. But I think even when he played last year, he worked and rehabbed so hard to get back, and he got back. But what a lot of people don't understand, when you have a major injury, even though you start practice, your muscles and stuff has got to get used to. You know what I'm saying? If you look at him now versus last year, you can tell he really worked hard in the offseason. He kind of feels like his old self again. So he has the accuracy with the passing, this and that. The thing we've got to do is fix the offensive line and keep our receivers healthy. And that way, I think people can really see what this young man can do. But that was part of the problem. Is just we've had to adjust with so many things because we've had a ton of injuries. It was good to see Devontae Parker back this past
Yes.
game. We start getting some of these guys back help. Let's say everything starts coming together in December. I think we're gonna continue to build on that. But that's the thing, and I think it'll be addressed in the off season. But we fixed the offensive line, this and that, and I'm telling you, the offense is gonna take off just like the defense.
Gio.
That was great insight right there, man. So with that being said, Richmond, I know we were talking earlier about one game at a time. I'm a firm believer at one game at a time too. Like we said, no matter what else happens out there, we gotta take care of business, no matter what, right? And it starts with the Jets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what do you think? Do you think? I know we had a bye week. Hopefully, I don't think that'll kill momentum as much. I think we needed this bye week. First and foremost, hopefully we get more creative with our play calls, more creative with the O line. As you know, probably in the bye week is a good time to try and get some of those things rehashed, work out a little bit. But basically, my question is, do you think that we can continue this hot streak? And basically, give me a prediction here for the last 4 games for you, my man.
I can't give you a prediction for the last four if I'm taking them one at a time. I definitely like our chances against the Jets, and then we got the Saints, Tennessee, and New England. And I think if we continue to prepare, I think the 2 games that concern me the most, if I had to look at the 4, would be Tennessee and New England. And I say those 2. I think maybe Tennessee the most because that's on the road. We get New England at home here. They're playing good football, but normally we play them pretty well here in Miami. So I think, I think we got a good chance. But like I said, I think we'll be 7-7 after Sunday. I'll say that. And then who we got next? The Saints.
Yeah, we got the Saints on Monday night.
Saints on Monday night at the Saints. So
Yes.
Dealing with
and we're at Tennessee on the 2nd of January, which I'm actually going to be lucky enough to go to that game. And then we got the home game to end the season with the Patriots here.
Yeah, the thing, like I believe the Saints is a winnable game. The key thing with that is being able to neutralize the crowd noise, because that's a dome. It can get really loud in there, and that can cause some issues for the offensive line. Can't hear the snap count, trying to go on silent count.
100%. And you know what game that reminds me of? Don't mean to interrupt you there, but for some reason this Saints game is at the Dome, right? I have a feeling it's going to be reminiscent. One thing I'll say about Tua, for some reason, he loves those big games, man. He loves those moments. It's gonna remind me of last year what he did at Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I feel it. I don't want to think that far ahead, like we said, but I don't know, man. Tua shines bright in these big games.
Well, you ain't gonna get no argument from me. I want you to keep feeling like that, so don't change that. So now we all need to feel with you. So we're gonna ride with you, bro. Don't worry about
Right,
that.
right, man. What you got, Angel? By the way, guys, Richmond, we appreciate having you on, man. This has definitely been great. I hope you've been enjoying it. Um, I know we're cutting it close on time for you, so I think Batman has the last question of the night here for you, my man.
Okay.
So Richmond, again, like Gio said, thank you for coming on and doing this with us. We are very appreciative of you, like, and your time. We value that a lot, believe me. So based on my what I want to ask, so we're taking it one game at a time into the season. That's how I've been putting it myself. A lot of people were like, "Oh, it's impossible." At the beginning of the season, I predicted this team to go 9-8 for one reason only, and that being the offensive line. And I hope I'm wrong. Obviously, I do believe in Tua. I've been a very Tua's one of Tua's biggest supporters. I like the kid. I see the improvement. I see him on a week-to-week basis improving and proving a lot of his doubters wrong. So my question to you is, if obviously you said you're a Tua supporter, so that's why I want to ask you this question. In the event that everything gets cleared up, and let's say we end the season not what we expect, right? The season ends, and you do see Tua's obviously his progression continues the way it's on track's been improving. Would you go ahead, and if you were in the situation of making the decision of getting a Watson, would you go and do that, or would you want to continue seeing what you've seen from Tua and building around him like they did to Kyler Murray in Arizona?
Oh, I'm riding with Tua. The thing is and it's the way the narrative's put out. If the game is won, the quarterback won it. If it's lost, the quarterback lost it. And it's a team
Always.
sport. And you got to look at truly what the issues are. But I think where sometimes the fan base gets misguided is listening to analysts. There's so much information out there, and it makes people think that they really are like a guru or they really know what they're talking about. Well, really, you just got to watch the X's and O's. Who's
right.
producing, who's making plays, why we're not being successful. If you just look at simple things, just simplify the game and stop saying PFF got this guy rated at this and this and that. Just watch the game. And if you understand football, you can say, okay, this is one of the reasons we're not as successful.
Yep.
This is one of the reasons this and that, and simplify it. But, you know, even with all that Watson stuff, when that was going on, I commend that young man for the way he handled it. He never really spoke ill will or showed his emotion where he was upset and this and that. And that's tough to deal with when you're trying to go out there and compete and then you keep hearing, oh, trade rumors, this, blah, 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 they're not happy with you, this and that. So, no, I'm sticking with him. You know, that's my quarterback. You know, if they make a decision, something else, I think it could really be, they could get some backlash now because of the way he's been playing. So I think a lot of people that wasn't on his bandwagon definitely has jumped on. So I think he will be the quarterback. I think people are starting to realize now that it's not Tua that's the problem. We got to fix some other areas.
We got a lot of deficiencies, man. And for some reason, me and Angel, I know personally, Batman, sorry, struggle with the whole trying to explain to people that, you know, for the most part, like you've been saying, pretty much, you know, it's all communication rhythm. You know, if your O-line can only sustain a block for 2.3 seconds, that's basically when the ball has to come out, you know? So, I mean, offensive line, for the most part, dictates quarterback play. Is that a fair assessment?
It's huge, and you brought up a great point, and I tell people that, and they'll say,
There you go,
"Well,
man.
why he didn't hit this guy, or why he didn't?" If you keep getting hit every other play, or you getting hit a lot, this and that, and I say, oh, "Okay, I'm gonna toss you the football. I want you to drop back. I'm gonna give you 2.5 seconds to get the ball out. You got to find the receiver, but on these 10 plays, 7 of them you're gonna get hit. You might not get sacked, but you're gonna get hit. So I want you to stay focused and deliver the football. And I think people will see how hard it is. 1,000, 1,000, they there. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of time, but people like, I don't understand this. You don't understand it until I can put that football in your hand. You be like, it's a whole different. It just shows how quick you got to go through your progressions, make a decision, be sure about your decision, and get the ball out. And that's not an easy task, but when you watch it on TV, it make it look like anybody can do it, but it's not that way. So, yeah, you got to try to bring people back to reality and say, no, it's not as easy as it looks.
When it comes from you, people will hear it, man. I mean, I'm a nobody, so I'm glad you verified my statement right there.
I'm gonna stick Batman on them. Yeah, they give me some slack. I'm gonna stick Batman on them.
Hey,
Batman,
Richmond,
man, final
we
thoughts
appreciate you
here,
coming.
man.
Hey,
Appreciate
thanks for
you
having
coming.
me on the show, man, and I appreciate the fan support by voting,
Yes,
trying
sir.
to get the Pro Bowl. Let's get Zach in there, and let's finish your season up strong. And I love the way the fan base comes together and support. So I'm just happy to be a fan with you guys, and thanks for having me on your show.